Welcome back to Ferocious Education. This is Zed. Today we're going to be talking about United Wholesale Mortgage. We're going to go through due diligence parts, technical analysis, what I think about this one, and at the very end, some analyst recommendations and analyst ratings. So without further ado, let's jump right into this one. So this company here has been really on the spotlight for a lot of people lately. And if you were to look into some of the events that they do have, for instance, on July 6th, which is today, or actually yesterday, my bad, Ultimate Mortgage Expo, they're going to be presenting there. Between July 11th and July 13th, the Summer Camp of 2021, and July 13th, 2021, the Carolina Connect Mortgage Expo, and on July 13th, 2021 as well, the NEAMP Spring Show. And you get to see they're very active to showcase their business. Now, in terms of news, and this is not really so much of a negative thing, but it's a very annoying thing when the public relations team aren't really sharing as much on the news part. The last news piece that we got on their website related towards United Wholesale Mortgage Corporation announced contest to bring mortgage brokers to ring the bell on New York Stock Exchange. Now, for me, I don't like that. There's been more than a month without any PR almost. And the one before that was their first quarter 2021 results. Before that was that quarter 1 2021 results conference call details. And then March 30th, them talking about the pricing of $700 million of 5.5% senior notes due on 2029. So you get to see there's massive gaps of PR. However, here's where they start putting their PRs out on Twitter. Now, I'm not a fan of having just that, just because a lot of this PR, you're not supposed to just have it into almost one stream. A lot of people don't really use Twitter and go to their main page. Nonetheless, here's some of the things that we're looking at. So United Wholesale Mortgage, United Wholesale Mortgage, my tongue twisted there a little, keeps on sharing different things. For instance, closing costs, looking as well towards being added to the Russell US Index, and for that we can go to the Russell website, and we do confirm that they are currently on the Russell 1000 Index right on here at the bottom right, and as well to the Russell Midcap Index, and that one is right on here as well, United Wholesale Mortgage Corporation A, and the Russell 3000 Index, it's the first one on the top right, United Wholesale Mortgage Holdings Corporation A. Now, the Russell thing has been going on and off because of the Russell Index themselves calculating the voting percentages, etc. But that seems to be fixed now, and they're all added to the index, and everything looks amazing from that point. Now, what I've seen with a lot of different companies, they usually share the Russell Index on the news, but here it's shared on Twitter, for instance. So definitely make sure to follow them if you'd like to get more updates relating to that one. Now, in terms of that quarter 1 2021 highlightings, we can try to get a bit of an idea on how they're actually moving on. So if you're looking towards quarter 4 2020 to quarter 1 2021, you're seeing a really nice cash and cash equivalent increase. Now, in terms of total assets, it appears to be on par with what you're seeing with quarter 4 2020, but in fact, it's actually as well $1 billion less, because this is dollars in thousands, and this appears to be 11.4 compared to 10.37, which makes it actually billions. And quarter 1 2020, though, it seems to be a really good improvement from there. So a lot of their products, a lot of their services might also be affected by what month or what quarter you're looking at. There is also some technology updates, operational highlights relating towards, for instance, robotic process automation for machine learning to further advance their operations excellence while driving down cost, etc. Now, on other parts as well, we can start taking a look into some of the SEC filing information that were found on there. Now, SEC filings, they haven't shared anything for June or July really. The last piece of information we have was from May 18th. So that's not as much as updated as I would like it to. And I did cover, I think, one a couple months ago on SEC filings, etc. So we're up to date on SEC filings. The link to this last video is in the description below. But if we were looking into institutional buyers, institutions remain bullish onto this one. The last massive addition was from Vanguard Total Stock Market Exchange Index Fund at 2.4 million shares. Back into as well June, Vanguard added it to other ETFs as well. Insiders buying early on in the month of June. So that's again very bullish. Now, another thing that I want to take a look back at is their presentation that they did share a while ago. And for this presentation, we're going to be discussing a bit of their insights, etc. And even though this presentation might be a little bit outdated, we're able to at least take a look into what makes this company a bit special. So the company was started in 1986, where Matt joins UWM in 2003 as the 12th person. They are the number 2 mortgage originator and the number 1 wholesale originator in the US. They originated around $54 billion in third quarter of 2020 for an annualized run rate of around $216 billion. Now, some of these data might be a little bit outdated, so be careful from this point on towards mentioning outdated data. Now, they also have B2B models resulting in direct relationships with more than 30,000 loan officers, with also best-in-class technology. Now, in terms of UWM's value system, they have 6 pillars. The first pillar is their people are the greatest assets. Second, service is everyone's responsibility. Pillar 3, we are relationship-driven, not transaction-driven. Pillar 4, we are thumb pointers, not finger pointers. Pillar 5, continuous improvement is essential for long-term success, and Pillar 6 is our path is paved with fun and friendship. Now, a lot of that seems to be really cool, but when you're looking into the wholesale channel, share of the mortgage market, that appears to be on the rise since, I would say, 2016. It did dip from 2008 because of the home financial crisis or housing financial crisis, and it seems to be recovering back up. And some other important metrics here is their application to ready to close date. And you get to see this is a little bit outdated. It's actually better right now. They even ran a PR back, I think 4 or 5 months or early on in 2021, saying if they don't reach a significant or a specific amount of closing date, their closing costs will be for free. And UWM, already in the industry average, it already beats its competition and the industry average for the ready to close from my research. Now, there's a lot of different things we can take a look at back on news, and I did cover this one previously, so I would definitely go back and watch these videos. Speaking of which, if you would like to see more contents like this, on the bottom right corner I have the subscribe button. Make sure to click that and turn on the bell notification button. Also, don't forget to drop a like to this video, I really would appreciate that. And again, if you would like to chat with me on Discord, etc., or some of the amazing people on there, it's totally free. We don't ask a penny from you. It's in the description below, and join the trading floor section. What we want to look at here is what happened last time in the quote-unquote bubble, right? What happens when the market goes on and under and crashes? So take a look into the mortgage. This is, by the way, relative. It's not just 1,000 mortgages, etc. This is relative information as well, and this is also amounts listed in dollars. And thousands of dollars to be, actually billions of dollars. So there you go. And starting off in around 1998, you got around 1.6. I'll just call them 1.6, 1,600, etc. 1,600, 1999, 1,379. 2000, it was a bit low. That was the year of the dot-com bubble. And a little bit after 2001, 2002, 2003, you're reaching up from low 2000s in 2001, mid to high 2000s in 2002, and around 2003 you had 3,800, to 2004 2,700, 2005 3,027, and it looks like that is more of a flow in the market. In that sense, if the stock market does crash in that sense, a lot of people seem to go towards mortgages, etc. And you get to see currently you're averaging somewhere between around 1,600 to around, I would say, 2,000 in terms of mortgages. Again, we're talking about billions of dollars. This is the amounts of billions of dollars, making 1,000 actually would be a trillion in that case. So really interesting. This is based, by the way, on mortgagecalculator.org, and I found it to be actually useful to try to understand what would happen if the market does crash in that sense. Now, the housing market is a bubble in its own. I'm just referring towards the stock market, not the housing market, because you do see some effects in the 2008 where it does dip, and we're still recovering from that 2007, 2008 in terms of the mortgage industry itself. Now, let's move on towards a bit of technical analysis. So from a technical analysis perspective, on the 1 month, 1 day perspective, we're going to start taking a look at different indicators. The first one here are the moving averages. The 10 SMA is touching the 30 EMA, which usually indicates a strong move in either direction can be easily plausible. Now, in terms of the 50 SMA, the price point is below the 50 SMA, and that makes it a bit bearish. It dropped on the 30th of June. Now, in terms of the ADX, it's sitting at 2291. That's the level where potential of a trend to form is high. And in terms of the Williams percent R, it's been highly oversold ever since the 29th to the 30th of June. And it continues to be so. So what does that overselling mean? By the way, Williams percent R is very similar to the RSI, a relative strength index. And when you're looking into this one here, this basically means in an equilibrium situation, you're going to have more buyers come in and raising the stock price back up based on the supply and demand equations. Now, if you're taking a look into what's happening here, momentum seems to be very negative, or actually one of the lowest points it's been for almost the entirety of the stock itself, ever since it has already been converted to UWMC. And what you see here is that it could be either a negative market coming in from indexes in general dropping, such as the Russell, or short selling activity, or just people who are holding the stock just deciding to sell. Now, on the institutional part, we don't see any of these indications that institutions are the ones selling. Now, they could be short selling under 5%, and we're not sure if that they could be selling under 5% for companies that hold less than 5%, or some big whales that are holding more than 5%. But again, this is just speculations and interpolations from these charts. Now, in terms of the MACD, that's gone negative, but as you get to see in the price point action, we're hitting in a bit more of an accumulation point, which is a positive point. So there's definitely a lot of turbulence for the stock, but it appears to be almost in a recovery phase, just based on the last 2 days perspective. Now, the stochastic fast and stochastic slow both are saying this might actually be a very lucrative time to buy the stock. And the Bollinger Bands, as you get to see here, they're the ones in purple, expects this one to trade at 1057 in the top and 798 in the bottom. So it can technically be considered a bit bottomed out on the Bollinger Bands. And so what some people are actually expecting for it to happen is as it breaks that Bollinger Band similarly to what you've seen here, it did bounce back before and it appears to be a continuous trend. However, if it does continue to push downwards and stay on there in terms of an accumulation, it might be a little bit might actually take a little bit longer for it to reach that bounce back. Now, in terms of Fibonacci retracements, the only reason I'm using this one is because high frequency traders do use it on the usual. The current resistance is 862, 935, 1008, 1112, and 1245. The supports here are 772 and 625. Now, if we were to take a look into price line actions, a very critical support lies at the $8. Below there, 773. Below there, 751. Below there, 729. Down to 697. Down towards 676 and to around 625. In terms of resistances, there are a few critical ones that you need to, or the stock price needs to break. For instance, the first one is at 841. Above there, 883. Above there, you're looking into 908, and then up to 973, 1005, 1061, going a little bit higher to 1140, up to 1169 and 1245. Now, in terms of UWMC itself, what we get to see in terms of analyst ratings, you have 3 buys, 5 holds, and 0 selling. Now, the average price target is $9. That's 12%.08% upside. So around 12% actually. And what you're seeing here is that the highest price target appears to be $10. The lowest appears to be $7.50. And somewhere in the middle is $9. So let's take a look into some of these price targets. So the highest appears to be actually 12, not 10, but that was also 4 months ago. And this is by Ashish Sabadara with a success rate of around 62% and an average return of around 12% from Deutsche Bank. Goldman Sachs, 68% success rate with 14% average return. You're seeing that they gave a price target of around 750 with a hold. And Mark Devers, 66% success rate with a 17% average return, gave it a price target of $8 with a buy. Another one, Steve Delaney, around 85% success rate. That's a really good one. With around 28% average return from GMP Securities, gave it a buy with a $10 price target. And then you have Kevin Heel with around 76% success rate and average return of 17%. Again, one of the really good ones, a buy with a price target around $10. So you get the point. It appears to be that a lot of these analysts, especially the ones with high success rates, do appear to be moderately bullish with this stock, actually giving it a buy holdings. Even the ones that are going on towards 8 price target, they also give it a buy. Now, with the holds, you get to see an up of around $10, $8.50, $9.50. So they're still telling you to hold, none of them telling you to sell. It's quite an interesting analyst coverage. Now comes to the question to Ed. What do you think about this one? So for UWMC, I do like this stock. I did mention before that I do hold a position in this stock for the long term. Now, my own opinion about this stock is that their fundamentals are there because the price over sales is actually cheaper than the SP 500 price over sales. Now, some people telling me, hey, you can't compare this with that, but in my opinion, it gives you an indication of the state of the market. And I think it's a really interesting stock to have to balance and diversify your portfolio. So for that, I'm incredibly bullish into this stock on my own portfolio. But if I was to advise someone, I would tell them to not put all your eggs in one basket, hence it being the more of the wholesale mortgages or the mortgages sector. Diversify. And this is a really good pick, and I favor it more than Rocket and other stocks in my perspective, just because of from what I've seen. Now, the only drawback that I don't really like is their PR game might be a little bit weaker than I do like. What do you think about this one? Make sure to mention down in the comments below. Share, subscribe, and like, and have a wonderful day. Now, if you're still here on this video, make sure to drop down below and join our Discord. We have a lot of different things going on, including, for instance, members that gives picks for free. It's not pump and dumps, we just things we think about, swings, etc. We also have really exciting bots. You can actually use those ones. For instance, we're just testing out this bot, for instance, that gives you Fibonacci resistance points, activities, etc. And we have a bunch of free things, totally free. We run on tips here, and you can ask me questions, suggest stocks, etc. It's a really nice community that has been growing up very fast at a very good rate, and it's totally free. If you would like to join that one, feel free to do so in the description below, and have a wonderful day.